back to Big Riff Energy. It's episode 106, I believe. You tell me. It's going to be a rare Saturday episode today. So it's Saturday, May 10th. And this is going to be a very unusual episode. I want to talk about Turnstile, which is a band that's not exactly in the typical Big Riff Energy wheelhouse, but is a band that I think has some of the biggest riff energy ever. I'm also going to talk about what I would consider to be maybe like an adjacent recent release, the self-titled album by Bleed from Dallas. You know, both really channeling, I would say, late 90s and early 2000s, sort of mainstream rock, alternative rock. There's traces of, dare I say, nu metal in the Bleed album. There's traces of stuff like Sade on the Turnstile songs, but both bands undoubtedly possess massive riff energy. I'm going to tell a very sad story, which is kind of atypical, and then I'll get to fan questions. We're also going to be going over the best riffs of 1974. And 74 is the first year that Sabbath did not put out an album. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a little atypical for that segment also. So yeah, Turnstile. I got clued into these dudes on the Time and Space record. I remember being on tour and hearing something being played over the PA in a venue and just thinking, like, what the hell is this? And I either asked somebody or, asked Siri, what band is this? Turnstile. So I was listening to that Time and Space record a lot on that tour. I was kind of late to the party, really, and I think I actually played either a show or a festival with Turnstile before I knew who they were. And I'm still kicking myself because I didn't see them. And now they're, I would say they're one of my favorite current bands. So yeah, Time and Space, great record. It's a little more straightforward, hardcore, melodic. Like, my favorite hardcore is the first wave stuff. We've talked about it on the podcast before. So Minor Threat, Bad Brains, even before that, like, I think the Stooges were leading towards hardcore. The Ramones, very clearly a punk band, but intensified the punk thing with the speed, but also the melodicism. I hear all of that in Turnstile sound for sure. The next album that came out after I had learned of the band's existence was Glow On, which was a couple years ago. Blew up. I love this band for a lot of reasons. The music's great, but the vibes are also great. And I just, I love to see people and bands that, as much as I love evil shit, I like the unifying element of the metal culture. That's what I like about it. Like, the love of the riff transcends anything that might typically divide the people in the community, and I love to see bands that have that kind of unifying vibe and that unifying message that work their ass off. Every once in a while, there is like almost some kind of spontaneous accidental justice in the world. And I feel that way about Ghost. If you go and listen to the Ghost demos, which I didn't even know existed until recently, they're on YouTube. Listen to that, and it defies, like, at the time, if you would ask anybody listening to it, is this band going to be playing stadiums at any point? It's just, you would never be able to see how that could manifest, if you listen to the demos. They're evil sounding, they're rough sounding. It's like creepy, still heavy with the Merciful Fate influence and the Blue Oyster Cult influence. But the point being is, for some reason, every once in a while, the good guys win. And I've always felt that way about Ghost. Tobias works his ass off, always has. He's one of these guys that was like a lifer. And even if Ghost didn't take off the way it did, he'd probably still be making Ghost records, just for the underground or whatever. and has just poured himself into it for decades. And yeah, it's always very inspiring, but also kind of mystifying and just fascinating when something that's good actually gets popular, because it happens so fucking rarely. And I feel the same way about Turnstile. You know, they all came out of the hardcore scene, the underground, when, you know, not nearly as many people cared about hardcore as they do now. And yeah, I'm sure, I don't know any of these people personally, but just from what I can gather, they've just been busting their ass, and they made it. Every once in a while, there's justice in this world, you know. So I liked Glow On a lot. It's definitely like introducing a little poppier elements, even maybe like shit that I'm not super into. Like I would almost say like some reggae type of stuff. But man, these new singles. So the first single was a title track, Never Enough. First of all, if you haven't heard Turnstile, I would say for typical listeners of Big Riff Energy, maybe start with Time and Space, because it's, yeah, a little more straightforward hardcore punk with melodic aspects and a little bit of experimentation. Great production. I love Brendan's vocals. You know, he was a drummer in Trapped Under Ice, and then is the singer in Turnstile, but he has a drummer's mind. You know, there's something so percussive and tight about his delivery. It's super melodic, but it's so percussive. It's just always locked in on the one, and they always crank the delay and the reverb like on the last line of, or the last word of like every other line. I love that shit. And when your vocal delivery is really, really percussive and tight to the beat, and you crank that delay on it, it sounds so cool. It's like the delay itself is another sound that's keeping time. And the production on these new singles is insane. But yeah, so if you haven't heard Turnstile and you're a typical listener of the show, start with Time and Space. Some of you guys might like Glow On. The opening track is like a perfect song. But basically, I would say this band is for fans of first wave hardcore punk, the more melodic, rocking kind of faster stuff, but also 90s alternative rock, maybe even a little bit of like grunge. Like I hear parts that remind me of Nirvana. My boy Fugit, shout out Fugit, pointed out that there's aspects of the new single, the Never Enough song, that reminded him of Torch. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard Torch and miss that band as much as I do. Yeah, Never Enough is the catchiest song I've heard this year by far. The video's great, amazing. It's a complete cinematic like spectacle. The next set of singles, I think it's 2 songs in one video. One is called Seeing Stars. And like I said, I read in an interview that Sade is like a big influence, and you can really hear it on that song. It's definitely got like a Sade, like 80s. I would almost say like Madonna, or yeah, it's like Sade meets Madonna meets like maybe even, to me, just from my paradigm, like Afterburner era ZZ Top. Somehow. Really, really cool guitar solo, just hooks upon hooks upon hooks, so catchy, great production. And then that song goes straight into a song called Birds that is channeling the older stuff. It's literally just like first wave hardcore. Super duper duper fast, shouty, kind of Minor Threat, Bad Brainsy kind of thing. And there's a breakdown that just makes me want to kick somebody in the head. And dude, the MVP is the person that swan dives off the stage with their hands behind their back when the breakdown hits. I don't know who you are, but you are the MVP of that whole video and rollout and everything. I really respect how these guys are figuring out ways of rolling out music and albums and songs in the modern what do I want to call it? Like the modern climate, the modern uh, ecology of social media and um, clickbait and short attention spans and all that sort of stuff. They're kind of showing us all that there can be an art form to that. So leading up to the release of the last album, Glow On, I think they put 3 or 4 songs out at the same time with basically like a short film with one of my favorite music video moments ever, where they're doing the typical like playing the song on a green screen stage, but then the singer just like drops the mic and takes off running, and it like breaks the fourth wall, and they follow him outside, and he jumps on the back of a motorcycle and speeds off. One of the greatest music video moments ever. But I mention this because it's so easy, it's so easy as an artist to humiliate yourself and minimize the quality and sincerity of your work by trying to do the social media rat race thing. I kind of approach it as like 2 completely different things. Like I approach the social media part and this podcast and that sort of thing as like, this is literally just whatever. This is advertising, I don't look at it as an art form at all. Whereas the music I take really, really, really fucking seriously. It's like absolutely sacred to me. And it has to really be real and sincere, the Neon Nightmare stuff, particularly, like obviously my approach to the rollout with that was maximum sarcasm, that aspect of it, there being nothing sacred whatsoever. Whereas the actual music part and the lyrics and the songwriting and all that is absolutely 100% sacred, But Turnstile is interesting because they're showing us that you can do the social media thing in an artistic way that's actually meaningful, that actually directly relates to the art that you're making, and that isn't cringy. You do have to try very hard to punch through the noise these days, and rolling out music is so much different than it used to be. But yeah, there's a right way to do it. Turnstile does it right. So it's going to be Turnstile Summer. Again, this album comes out June 6th, I think. And so far, these 2/3 songs that they've rolled out are the catchiest songs I've heard this year. I love them. Catch myself singing them all the time. Yeah, and I'm a big fan. If you haven't heard Turnstile, check them out. Like I said, a little bit different than what we usually talk about, but you can't question the big riff energy of Turnstile. All right, we're gonna go over the best riffs of 1974, and it's a good one because again, Black Sabbath is out of the running, so it made it a little trickier, a little more interesting. And I got a really good fan question about how I'm getting the guitar tones when I'm doing these riff rundowns and that sort of thing. So I can get into some technical aspects about recording this podcast, getting guitar tones and that sort of thing. But man, I'm going to tell a story. It's a very, very sad, fucked up story, and it involves a dog dying. So if you don't want to hear that, I would say skip ahead 15 minutes or 10 minutes or something until you hear me playing Leonard Skinner riffs from 1974. On earlier episodes of this podcast, I got into like some personal stuff about getting sober and stuff like that because I figured that would probably help some people out there, and it did. I got a little bit personal talking about my friend Big John, who passed away, but I've really tried to avoid turning this thing into like a fucking group therapy thing, because I think there's too many of those. Some of these podcasts of like grown ass men where every other episode they're talking about overcoming depression and this and that, it almost becomes, it feels a little bit exploitative to me. You're exploiting yourself, you're exploiting your listeners who have struggles, and it's a very fine line going from like acknowledging that mental health is a serious issue, especially in men. I think historically, we're kind of like a man's man is raised not to really acknowledge mental health or whatever. But I think it's good to acknowledge it, but I feel like it's such a fine line going from, previous generations didn't acknowledge mental health at all. You just suffered through PTSD and alcoholism and whatever 8 million other things that you had, and then you died, and you just fucking kept marching. And the pendulum swung the other way, which I think is good, but I think it has swung a little too far. Because like I say, there's a fine line between acknowledging mental health and shit like that, and then turning into this like wallowing in self-pity, perpetual victim identity, right? And that has bothered me a lot. The older I get, the more society changes. I think it's good to be empathetic and acknowledge mental health problems, but it seems like we've kind of convinced everybody that we all have these debilitating, difficult, legitimate mental health issues. And I think a lot of that's bullshit. So sorry for this whole preamble. But I feel compelled to tell this story. I don't know why. Maybe it'll make me feel better. I put a lot of this stuff into music, but I think podcasting is kind of an art form. So I just want to see if it resonates with anybody or see if it helps me feel better or whatever. So the other day, I'm on my way to my boy Jason's house, who is playing guitar for Spirit ADRIFT now. We were going to work out some tones and different stuff. Oh, hey, by the way, we're playing May 31st at Empire. Tickets at spiritadrift.com. It's our big comeback. We got a bunch of stuff going on in Europe too, which we'll be announcing like the full itinerary for that very soon. But yeah, so I was on my way to Jason's to sort of continue preparing for that gig. We both kind of live out in the country. Him more so than me. So it's like back roads and stuff to get over to his house. And I'm taking sort of kind of 2-lane highway, and there's another smaller 2-lane highway that connects to a bigger highway to get to his house. Now, once I got on the small road, I'm seeing a lot of dead shit on the road, which is kind of typical. But there's like turkey vultures out here. Some people call them buzzards, but these are, well, I guess they're technically called turkey vultures. Nasty ass looking birds. They eat dead shit. And they're all over the place. Like there's millions of them. And there's turkey vultures dead, splattered on the highway and stuff like that. This road is like very narrow. It's two lanes. It is blacktop, but there's no shoulder whatsoever. Literally not even lines on the side of the thing. And there's big ass trucks, barreling up and down it. So I'm seeing all this dead shit, whatever, typical. I see what I think is either like a coyote or maybe like a German Shepherd or something. The turkey vultures are having their fucking way with it. That's always kind of like, ugh, like stomach punch, And so I'm kind of like, a little bit sad about that. Come around a curve and I see something on the center line. And at first, it looks like maybe a wing coming up. So I think it's another turkey vulture that's been hit, by a truck or whatever. And I'm like, well, that looks a little weird. And I get closer and I'm like, is that a black trash bag? What is that? It's literally on the center line of this like 65 mile an hour highway with no shoulder, So I get closer, I'm slowing down just in case. And once I see what it is, I just like pull off the road immediately. I'm kind of like blocking half the lane because it's just a drop off into like a grass, ditch basically. And I throw my hazards on. It's a black lab, man. And some of you have seen my guy Hank on this podcast. He made an appearance during the Kirk Winstein interview when we were talking about the Judas Priest song Reckless. That's Hank's favorite song. And I'm going to play a riff from his second favorite song coming up. But so some of you have seen Hank. Very typical, goofy, sweet, black lab looking acting dog. He's sitting right here. This dog that's laying in the middle of the center line looks exactly like Hank. And he's trying to get up and he can't. I don't really know what's wrong with him, but what I thought was the wing coming up was him lifting his head up off the road, trying to see what's coming. So I approach him. He seems all right, like not aggressive or anything, but he's fucked up, like he can't really move. So I pet him. He's fine, not snapping at me or anything like that. I'm trying to sort of examine him. And, he's injured. There's no like blood or guts or gore or anything brutal like that. I think all his injuries were internal. I've been trying to think of what could happen. I'm going to talk to animal control again here in a couple days, but I was thinking today maybe he like fell out of the car window or the back of a truck or something. But anyway, he can't get up. And my mind is just a fucking blank in this situation. So I get up under him and I sort of lift him and I'm pulling him and he's doing okay. He's not howling or yelping or anything like that. But this is a fucking heavy dog, full size black lab. And I'm pulling him. At some point, it's the actual moving of the dog is kind of like blurry because there were trucks coming and shit. My car is literally like where me and the dog are in the middle of the highway, the center line. My car is like blocking half the fucking the lane. So moving him is a little blurry, but at some point, the way that I moved him, I think caused him enough pain to turn around and snap, and he caught me on the forearm. So I'm like, fuck. I was hoping that wouldn't happen. That was like my only concern. But I get him off the road and into the grass. And when I say my mind is a blank, it is an absolute fucking, there is not a thought in my head. I wouldn't have been able to tell you my name if you asked me. Because me and this dog are just staring at each other. And he's in pain and he's like, I kind of tell he's halfway in the spirit world. But we're just making eye contact and I'm just, trying to transmit to him like, you're good, man. Like, I'm not going to leave you here. I still can't believe this. But the second I got him into the grass, it felt like an hour of like staring at this dog blank, just like blacked out, basically. But almost instantaneously, I think a sheriff's deputy pulls up behind me. He gets out and he's super cool. I had a very, very contentious relationship with the Washington County Sheriff's Department in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Not a fan, still not a fucking fan of the two guys that threw me in jail for no reason, one of whom a few months later shot an unarmed man in the back 9 times, emptied his gun on him. And the sheriff at the time of Washington County is one of the biggest douchebag, limp dick pieces of fucking shit that I ever met in my life. So that really, it was the same shit as going to Sunday school. It just completely tainted my relationship with that, but I've had some good interactions with these guys out here. I think most of them are good guys working a really, really hard job. And this guy was a good guy. I just told him, I was like, man, there's a dog. I pulled him off. He couldn't see the dog because my car was blocking him, And he came over and his lip started quivering and my lips started quivering. And I was like, man, he was on the center line. I would have never been able to forgive myself if I hadn't pulled him off. My wife would never forgive me. And he's like, no, I thank you. And it started raining. So we put our jackets on and I got the umbrella out of the car to hold it over the dog. And this dude called animal control. And I kind of spazzed out. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. The first thing I actually did was call Jason and be like, hey, I'm going to be late. Typical fucking can't be late, can't flake, can't disappoint people, no matter what. But so, the cops got the dog and I got the fuck out of there. I don't know. I just got the fuck out of there. Went to Jason's, but now I'm thinking I got these bite marks and I'm thinking about rabies and I'm thinking about all the bullshit, fucking bro science, fear mongering shit I've heard the now completely unlistenable Joe Rogan talk about when it comes to rabies. Like if you wait too long, you just die. Like there's nothing they can do. So now I'm like fucking cleaning these dog bites. Googling rabies and like how long do you have for, and like what should you, and don't ever Google anything, guys, medical. Don't ever do that. Because it's like doctors say you shouldn't even blow off like a tiny scratch if you suspect it. I'm like, God damn it. 20-year-old me would have not thought twice about it. We would have practiced and worked out our leads and guitar tones and all that, and I would have forgot about the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm more responsible. I have people depending on me now and shit. And I'm not going to be any good to anybody if I have rabies and shit. So go to the ER, talk to them. They like communicate with animal control and all this. The animal control lady calls me, asks if I want to do a rabies test on the dog. I'm like, well, that would be nice. It would give me some peace of mind. And then she's like, well, we will have to euthanize him. And I was like, well, fuck that. I'm not going to, I'd rather just die of rabies and have to be the guy to make that call. So yeah, I got a tetanus shot and came home, and the animal control lady called me, the lady that's actually out in the field doing the hard work. And I could tell, man, I knew when I saw the dog. Like I said, he was like halfway in the spirit realm. But the lady called me, and yeah, as soon as I heard her voice, I was like, God damn it. So they had to put the guy down. Guys, I have been involved in violence. I have seen multiple human beings die in violent accidents and shit. In Little Rock, like when I was Ubering in Phoenix, I saw people getting run over and people dying, like motorcycle accidents and all kinds of shit. I can watch a person die and it doesn't do shit to me. I mean, I saw a guy like get his head explode basically in Little Rock, and I didn't feel shit. I don't know, maybe I'm wired wrong. And I still don't feel shit about it. Like it just didn't bother me. Violence with human beings, I don't know, maybe kids or whatever. Yeah, that bothers me. Violence against women, that sort of thing. But I've seen human beings die in like gory, violent fashions and felt fucking fine about it. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. Desensitized by horror movies or heavy metal, or just I kind of think that there's a part of me that doesn't fully believe that all human life is precious and sacred. Like, I don't really think Charles Manson's life was worth even existing. I don't, whoever. I don't think that, maybe that's a belief that I hold that I'm not fully aware of. But yeah, maybe I don't feel like human life is sacred. But dude, something about dogs, it is my greatest and only only emotional weakness on this earth. So I don't know. I just wanted to, sorry if that's a bummer. And again, I never wanted this shit to be like a therapy session thing, but so much of what y'all write me is like emotional heavy shit, talking about how music can get us through and riffs can get us through and all that sort of thing. And, I think it's very, very important for there to be tough guys in the world. And by tough guys, I don't mean like knucklehead, jock, fucking bully assholes. I mean guys that don't entertain the idea for 1 second of this victim shit, or that life is just too hard, or emotional problems are too hard, or everybody has a mental health issue and everybody has PTSD, and just because you get obsessed with a Black Sabbath riff means you have autism or what. There needs to be guys that are like, no, I think that's good. I think that's a good beacon for people. And it doesn't mean you have to like pretend that shit doesn't suck sometimes, because it does. But I don't know. I feel sort of like I feel a duty to not ever slip, especially publicly on here with the vibe of what I want this to be. I have a duty not to be a little bitch, dude, because there's plenty of them. There's plenty of them. Almost every fucking podcast sucks because it's just fucking endless crybaby loop bullshit, complaining about every fucking thing that's going on in the world or whatever. So I never want this shit to be like that. But at the same time, I'm here for you guys when you write in, and I can tell already that this made me feel better too. So I don't want sympathy emails. I don't give a fuck about that. Gonna be fine. It's very sad. But it is what it is, man. And say a prayer for our boy. We named him Petey. And yeah, there has got to be a doggy afterlife paradise. I know there is. And I know a lot of them up there waiting on all of us. Okay. Best riffs of 74. I'm going to fuck some of these up because a couple of them I just learned today. Leonard Skinner put out Second Helping. Leonard Skinner, you can make a case when I say Skinner, pre-plane crash. You can make a case they're the greatest guitar band ever. Make sure this sumbitch is working. It's working. 3 guitars. Like Leonard Skinner's songs, if you're a complete fucking moron, they seem simple. But if you know anything about anything, you have to realize that it's an orchestration. It's insane. You have a lead vocalist, you have a drummer, you have a piano player who sometimes plays other crazy sounding shit. You have a bass player, you have 3 guitars. And then you might have a bunch of backing vocals or saxophone, other shit on the songs. And the arrangements are like truly an orchestration. Listen to those, Tom Dowd, Leonard Skinner albums on headphones, and it's out fucking rages. There's countless articles written back in the day on how they did it. With the technology they had, it's just insane that Skinner records sound as good and full and separated. All the guitars, you can tell exactly which of those 3 dudes. Okay, Give Me Back My Bullets, they had 2 guitar players, but like on Second Helping, 74, 3 guitar players, you can tell at any given time who's playing what. It's insane. They're putting the guitar parts together as if it's like one. If it's the single greatest guitar player that ever lived, but it's like split into 3 different parts. So they're bouncing off of each other and shit. Just amazing, man. Amazing. So we have to talk about Skinner. I guess it was 71 or 2, whatever year Smoke on the Water came out. I'm like, well, that has to be the best riff of that year because literally everybody knows it. So applying that logic, there's only one choice for the best riff of whatever, 74, which would be right, obviously. That's not even my favorite riff in that song. I think my favorite one is this one. That's a great one, right? Gotta acknowledge Hankis's second favorite riff, one of James Hetfield's favorite songs. Let's see. I just learned this one today, I'm ashamed to say. Don't ask me no questions. I have the opposite philosophy here on Big Riff Energy. Please ask me questions. You can write me at bigriffenergy@gmail.com. But I think the best riff on Second Helping is working for MCA. And again, I just learned this 5 minutes ago and it's real weird. So I'm probably going to fuck it up, but here we go. Right? That's a great one, man. But here's the kicker. As much as I love Leonard Skinner, you know, Big Riff Energy is mostly about metal. And none of those, working for MCA is pretty heavy, you know, for the time. And I almost feel like Ronnie's vocal wail at the beginning of that song, you could maybe classify as one of the earliest death metal vocals or extreme metal vocals. Go listen to Working for MCA and listen to what Ronnie does at the beginning. Borderline like carnivore vocal approach. But you know, for riffs that apply more to metal and heavier music, I think the best riff of 74 is a Queen riff. And I fucking love and respect Queen so much. I'm not their biggest fan. I don't hardly ever listen to them, but you can't deny this, man. Stone Cold Crazy. Metallica covered it. So, yeah, I like this because I'm learning all these riffs I've never learned before. I just learned that one today, too. Been hearing it forever. Garage Inc., you know. Okay. That's it for 74, though. I'm going to say Stone Cold Crazy by Queen is the best riff of 1974. This is one of the best questions I've got on this podcast from Brian. Hi, Nate. Absolutely love the show, your bands, the vibe, big riffs, etc. Thank you, man. One thing I've been wondering is how do you record your guitar sounds when you demo the best riffs of 19 whatever and or the riff tutorials? I'm an at-home bedroom guitarist / synth player, and I've been really dying to try and record my own music, but I'm struggling with how to get good killer tones. Anytime you play guitar on the podcast or other videos, it sounds dope as hell, so I want to try and do whatever you're doing. So I was wondering if you could do a rig rundown style thing, show what kind of gear you use, budget options for people that have some money to spend but not a ton. Dude, that's the whole fucking world right now. Except for a small cabal of occultist, satanic, child predator, adrenochrome drinking lizard people. And determine for yourself whether or not I'm actually 100% serious about that, because I'm not actually sure myself. I currently have Logic Pro on my MacBook, but I don't know of a way to record guitar or synth music to it other than buying a microphone, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I got you, dude. Thanks in advance. Keep up the amazing work, spreading the word about killer music, riffs, and positive vibes. Sincerely, Brian. Yeah, dude. Listen, man, I don't have a producer for this podcast. Nothing. Not an editor, not a graphic designer, not nobody. No fucking corporate backing, no nothing. I am going to shout out some companies. I don't have a working relationship with any of them, but maybe I should look into that. I record this podcast. The video is my iPhone, which I have dropped in the fucking bath multiple times. Still using it to record the video. And it looks great. I'm recording the audio into Logic on a laptop, just a MacBook. So you want an interface. The interface that I like is the Scarlett, what's it called? 2i2? It's just a 2-channel. I'll throw a picture of it up if I remember to. I'm kind of out of sorts this week with all the fucking shit that's been going on. But yeah, Scarlett 2i2. That's kind of like the typical thing everybody uses. I even remember seeing the dude from Hell Ripper, I think it was, post his setup, and it was just a laptop and a Scarlett, and that's how he tracked some of the guitar on their records. So they're great. I have a microphone, this SM7 running into channel 1 on the Scarlett. It has an automatic gain control or whatever, where you hit this button that says auto, you start making sound. It takes like 10, 15 seconds and it sets the gain automatically to like the ideal range. so you don't have to know shit about gain levels in order to get a good sound. The Scarlett 2i2 plugs directly into your computer via USB, and then you go into Logic and select that. It'll usually do it automatically once you plug the Scarlett in. So I have this mic going into channel 1. I have this guitar going into channel 2, where I also automatically let the Scarlett determine the gain there. Listen, man, I'm old school. I like tube amps. I didn't think there would ever be a point in my life where I would give in to the unrelenting pressure to start using amp modelers and quad cortex and all this different stuff. But almost everything I do on this podcast and everything I do demoing material now is amp modelers. On records, we still use real amps, obviously. But even a lot of the clean guitar that ended up on the Neon Nightmare record, I recorded right here at home using amp modelers. Roland Jazz Chorus modeler, which the Roland Jazz Chorus is a computer chip anyway. So the computer chip in your computer making the Roland Jazz Chorus sound is actually technically identical to the computer chip in the Jazz Chorus making the sound, the only difference being the speakers or whatever. But yeah, amp modelers, man. The company that completely changed my mind, Neural DSP. I believe they're based in Finland. Particularly, if I was going to get one Neural, it's, by the way, Neural DSP. If I was going to get one plugin, get the Soldano one. It is fucking amazing. Like, some of the best heavy tones, some of the best lead tones. It comes with you can have the amp interface there and a pedal board. It has reverb and delay and chorus and 3 different overdrives and compressor and all this shit, plus the cabinet simulators. And it also has a ton of presets. There's some, I didn't know who he was actually until I started using some of his presets, but the guy Jamie Slays, he's like a YouTube guitarist. He has a whole fucking library of presets, and they're all named something very, very close to what it's supposed to sound like without calling it Master of Puppets so they don't get sued or whatever, cease and desist. But there's like Cowboys from Hell tone, Alice in Chains Dirt tone, Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All, Justice, Master of Puppets. You can get the Mesa 2C plus whatever plugin that is modeling the actual amp that Metallica uses on Master of Puppets, but the Soldano plugin can do that sound. The Soldano plugin can do literally any sound. It's got most of the clean guitar on the Neon Nightmare record that you hear is that Soldano amp modeler. If I'm being fully transparent, because we tried to record clean guitar with an actual Roland Jazz Chorus, and it didn't. I hate to say it, guys, it didn't sound as good as the fake amp. It did not sound as good. It just wasn't cutting through. So yeah, dude, all you need to record really sick sounding stuff is a Scarlett 2i2. You have Logic Pro, you said, so that's great. Fucking amazing program. I used to use Pro Tools exclusively because I was trained on Pro Tools, but I can't do shit with Pro Tools anymore. I feel like Logic is so much better as a creative type, rather than like an engineer mixer or whatever. Scarlett 2i2 into Logic. Yeah, get you that Neural DSP Soldano plugin. Look at all their stuff, but really, I swear to God, that's the only one you need. I have all of it, but that's the only one I even use anymore. For programming drums, I don't know if you're trying to get into that. I have the Kurt Ballou drum package that him and Ben from Converge recorded at Electrical Audio in Chicago. It sounds amazing, dude. For demos, I mean, all I'm trying to do is convince my bandmates that my songs are good. I don't really need to convince a label or anything like that. I just need to give my guys something to practice to, you know. And it's that Soldano plugin and those Kurt Ballou drums. That's like way, way, way more than enough. Honestly, it sounds good enough that if you had a pro mix it, you could just release it as an album. Sounds amazing. I also, for bass, I use the Alex Webster preset on the Dark Glass bass plugin, which is also Neural DSP. So I hope that answers your question. Scarlett 2i2 into Logic with those plugins. Have fun with it, man. That Soldano plugin is a beast. It's a lot of fun. I want to talk about the album of discussion, Bleed, self-titled, which came out, I don't know, a couple weeks ago on, or maybe like Friday on $20 spin, kind of adjacent to the Turnstile vibe. I feel like a tour with Turnstile and Bleed is almost inevitable. These guys are from Dallas. It's alternative rock, you know, reminiscent of the early 2000s. Some of it gets a little too dangerously close to like nu metal for me. I was never a nu metal guy. I wasn't even ever a Deftones guy. That seems to be the one nu metal band that like nu metal haters don't tend to hate, but I just never, nope, not my thing. But the first single off this album, again, was really, really good. Definitely big riff energy, 3 guitar players. Rocks, the vocals are really good. There's like DJ record scratch and shit on it, which I could live without. But yeah, the 90s/2000s alternative Xbox energy drink, you know, early primitive version of the internet, chat rooms, you know, going to the mall and seeing a movie in the movie theater. That vibe is like very much back right now. And I think we use that to great benefit with the Neon Nightmare stuff. But yeah, Bleed is definitely channeling that, and it feels good. Like if you're around, if you're an older millennial, you know, on the older range of the millennial generation, this stuff feels good. I'm not even sure I would have liked Turnstile or Bleed if they had come out when I was 14 or whatever. Maybe, because I did like, I liked Blink-182 and stuff like that. They got riff energy for sure. But yeah, check out Bleed, especially if you miss the late 90s, early 2000s. Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack, that sort of thing. I guess I would say it's for fans of Deftones and shit like that, but I don't really like Deftones and shit like that, and I like this. So check it out. Melodic, heavy, cool, sad, melancholy, you know, yearning, that sort of stuff. All right, guys, thanks for sticking with me. You know, I already feel better. If you're feeling like shit, play some Leonard Skinner riffs, and it'll fix you right up. Write me at bigriffenergy@gmail.com. Come see Spirit Adrift May 31st at Empire. It's going to be a fucking whoop-ass show. Guys, can you believe the irony of Pentagram playing on Mother's Day here in Austin? Because I want to go flyer that show. I'm not going to go in. I feel like if you're in the same building with that guy, you're just a pathetic fucking spineless piece of shit. And you can't use their new album being good as an excuse, because it ain't. It ain't. The dude's always kind of sounded like a goofball. But man, I'm a lifer Pentagram fan. And I couldn't get through half of that piece of shit. It is fucking terrible. So I won't be caught dead in the building. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say everybody in the building's a spineless piece of shit, because I'm trying to get you guys to come see us. But yeah, come see us. And you don't have to worry that somebody in the band beat up a 90-plus-year-old woman. All right. See y'all next time. And see you soon, man. 3 weeks or whatever at Empire. Peace out, guys. Much love.